Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
Big show again today for you. 888-900-3393. Pat Unleashed on Twitter. YouTube.com/Pat Gray on YouTube. Coming up 90 minutes from now, Hilary Kennedy will join us in studio and update us on all kinds of things. I suppose the UFC is in there somewhere, I would guess.
It's a fair guess.
Yeah. Big UFC fan. Hopefully there's been a bloodbath match that she's enjoyed recently that she can tell us about. But the other thing you notice about UFC is how virtually every one of them seem to be conservative, seem to be Trump supporters.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting.
One of the stories she has is someone who I don't think is.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
In the UFC?
I think he's UFC.
Right.
I forget, but yeah, it's interesting.
Oh, boy.
You'll see what his connections are.
Yeah. One bad apple don't spoil the whole bunch, girl. Just keep that in mind.
Okay.
With the CNN presidential debate taking place Thursday night, Jake Tapper, the moderator, a lot of people on the right are mentioning that, they might be less than impartial. And so they've outlined and highlighted some of the things that Jake Tapper has said about President Trump in the past. I got to stick up for a colleague here. There's no way that Jake Tapper will be anything but fair, right down the middle, non-biased. I mean, listen to some of the things he's said in the past.
The dehumanizing rhetoric of Adolf Hitler is once again alive and well on a national political stage. This time, of course, in the United States. Donald Trump, a couple times over the weekend, referred to immigrants from South America, Africa, and Asia. He did not mention Europe. South America, Africa, and Asia as, quote, poisoning the blood of our country, which it's not hyperbole. That does very directly echo Adolf Hitler's language before World War II. Open up a copy of Hitler's Mein Kampf. You would find the Nazi leader describing the mixing of non-Germans with Germans as poisoning. There's really no other way to say it. Donald Trump's language mirrors this directly.
There's no other way to say it. There's nothing else you could say, no one else you could compare him to. It must be drawn. Okay. All right. But he's completely impartial. Don't worry about it. It's going to be a great debate. It's not Trump versus Biden and CNN.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one time. You got one example here of Jake Tapper showing favoritism.
One example that's kind of a best of clip, though. It's a montage,
That's true.
if you will.
Yeah.
One time, so there were, 4 times there?
Okay.
But
that's it, right?
Let's not nitpick.
Are we done?
Well, he
What?
He talked about Trump history and cut away from Trump.
Serious national security laws and then obstructing and refusing to cooperate with the FBI.
Whatever this spectacle is that's unfolding before us, let's remember what this case is about. Let's remember what's it about? Indictment charges. Again, Donald Trump is charged with a series of federal felonies for mishandling the most sensitive government documents that we have and for obstruction of justice, along with Walt Nauta, who is charged with intentionally setting up lies to the grand jury, to the FBI. Any way you look at this, and again, despite whatever may be going on in that restaurant, this case isn't going to be settled legally in a cafe. It's going to be settled in the court based on the facts and law.
The folks in the control room, I don't need to see any more of that. He's trying to turn this in. He's trying to turn it into a spectacle, into a campaign ad. That's enough of that.
Wow. Yep. They wouldn't go back because it was a bunch of people that like Trump.
That's enough of that. Those of you in the control room, don't go back to that.
Well, this is the reason that Jake Tapper went off the rails because of Donald Trump. He used to be pretty fair, I thought. I mean, we talked about it many times back in the day before the Trump presidency. The Jake Tapper was pretty good. He dished it out to both sides, but he clearly hates Trump.
Definitely.
And that's really affected him. And it turned him into this.
It's nice to see.
It's really too bad.
Because, and we have even more examples, surprise, of Jake Tapper showing his disdain for Donald Trump. The thing that's interesting is normally it's those on the right and Republicans reacting after the fact. Because I specifically remember a debate that Chris Wallace showed that he was anti-Trump, and it wasn't until after that those on the right came to the battlefield and was like, look at that, man, that he was terrible. He was, and Jake Tapper may be, and we may have something to complain about then, but it's nice to see the right get out in front of something to say ahead of time, going in, you're dealing with...
look at this guy.
Yeah.
And there's more. I'm sure it's all glowing on Trump, right? Here he is talking about the Charlottesville hoax.
All have to stand up and speak out against this kind of bigotry so that it is never normalized, so that we don't give these people oxygen that they're looking for. They are the fringe. Let's keep them at the fringe. And that's why I think we have to have this moral clarity. And I'm pleased with the things he just said tonight to add clarity to the confusion that I think he gave us on Tuesday.
I think the issue that Eric was expressing is the reluctance to criticize President Trump for specifically saying things like very fine people were marching in that rally that had swastikas and anti-Semitic chants. And
just continuing the garbage. Ha. Amazing.
There were not any very fine people in that rally.
Oh, okay. There were no very fine people there. He knows this? Pause it. He knows morally each of these people. He sees into their heart. This is amazing. Jake Tapper knows their soul. Jake Tapper just anointed himself God. That's amazing. Huh. There were no fine people there. This is perfect because Snopes has just finally, after 7 years, admitted that that's not what he said. He didn't say that the Nazis were very fine people. And there it is. There's the Snopes article. No, Trump did not call neo-Nazis and white supremacists very fine people. Finally.
Yeah.
Where have you been?
And they, I guess I didn't print it up for either of us. But yeah, I mean, they go in to explain that.
Yeah, they talk about what he said.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
Yeah, they just put his quote. I mean, that exonerates him.
Jeez. They actually mention the full context of his statement. Excuse me, they didn't put themselves down as neo-Nazis, and you had some very bad people in that group. Okay, there's a reference to neo-Nazis and him calling them bad people. But you also had people that were very fine people on both sides. You had people in that group. Excuse me. I saw the same pictures you did. You had people in that group that were there to protest the taking down of, to them, a very, very important statue and the renaming of a park from Robert E. Lee to another name. Okay, he specifically said, I'm not talking about the neo-Nazis or the white supremacists, but there were other people there who were very fine people. Okay. I mean, I'm sure somebody happened in there that wasn't a neo-Nazi. It's just really incredible. All right, let him finish here.
Morally ambiguous. It was morally wrong. That's what the president said.
No.
Let me just add to what you just said. I have a hard time believing if you're standing in a crowd to protest something and you see, all these anti-Semitic slogans and the Heil Hitlers and the swastikas, that you're good with that and you're a good person. You're not a good person if you're there. That's just so very clear. So I totally agree with that, and that's why I think it was not only morally ambiguous, it was equivocating.
Shut up, Paul.
No.
Okay. Just the insanity is just taking over the country. But there's more. Talking about civility here.
So the erosion of basic standards of civility and human decency continues. It's not just a Republican phenomenon, but we are being led down the drain by President Trump. To Trump supporters out there, imagine liberals shouting down a reporter from an outlet that they didn't like, and a Democratic president giving that mob an attaboy. Would that be acceptable?
Well, there Joe Biden's done it how many times?
That's your moderator for Thursday night. Ought to be good.
He's not respected.
That's right.
So yesterday, CNN cut off a Trump spokesperson who was pointing out this inherent bias?
Well, first of all, it takes someone 5 minutes to Google Jake Tapper, Donald Trump, to see that Jake Tapper has consistently
we're going to stop this interview if you're going to keep
President
attacking my
Trump to
colleagues.
Adolf Hitler.
Ma'am, I'm going to stop this interview if you
I'm
continue to attack my colleagues. I would like to talk about Joe Biden and Donald Trump, who you work for.
Yes.
If you are here to speak on his behalf, I am willing to have this
That's
conversation.
what she's doing, Putin.
I am stating facts that your colleagues have stated in the past.
Okay,
now, as
I'm
for
sorry,
this
guys.
debate,
We're going to come back out to the panel. Caroline, thank you very much for your time. You are welcome to come back.
Okay. Wow. Incredible. That's really amazing. She's trying to point out the fact that it's obvious Jake Tapper is biased against Donald Trump. And Miss CNN there won't let her. Because she's so protective of her colleagues. And they would never do or say anything that was not just straightforward journalism. I don't even know who this person is. What's her name?
Oh, gosh. I knew it yesterday.
Isn't it Katie?
Yeah.
Is it Katie?
Something.
Katie.
And
something.
then her banner, though, is her shaking hands with Joe Biden. What? I mean, CNN. They don't even hide it.
It's really embarrassing. And this debate, I hope that Trump didn't bite off more than he can chew, because it isn't just Biden. It's CNN and the anchors, the hosts of this event that are going to shut him down left and right. And they've already said they're going to turn off microphones. You think they're going to be maybe a little happy trigger finger toward Donald Trump? Yeah, I think maybe. I think they might be shutting off his mic a little prematurely. If they don't like what he says, they'll just cut his mic.
And I want to give you a little bit more context on Katie Hunt from CNN.
Katie Hunt.
She's the one who said that Rand Paul getting his ribs broken by his neighbor was, quote, favorite stories, end of quote.
Whoa.
Wow. That's nice, huh? So she's not biased either. That's
No.
That's good.
Wow.
These are not just mouthpieces for the administration for Democrats. They are just quality journalists.
Should be a fair debate, though, Thursday night.
Sure should.
The most trusted name in news, from what I hear.
Wow.
CNN.
Just remember, it's just an apple. And it's just a banana.
Just a banana. That's awesome.
Is that from the campaign?
From the campaign.
CNN campaign.
That was their
fake news, not fake news campaign. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Stupid.
Oh, boy. All right, well, let's revisit something that doesn't get enough attention, and that's what Joe Biden said in praise of Robert Byrd. You remember the former, what was he, the Grand Poobah?
Yeah, the Grand Wizard, right? That's what it was? It was something, Cyclops or...
Yeah, it wasn't
something?
the Grand Wizard, because I think that's the actual leader of the...
Okay, let's see
the whole clan.
What was Robert C. Byrd?
Cyclops sounds right. He might have been.
And if we're gonna,
he was ahead of a local chapter, I think.
If we're gonna have this ridiculous lie about Donald Trump in Charlottesville, then we need to start dragging out
the truth,
the racist stuff from Joe Biden, which is should saturate the conversation. Anyway.
So Robert Byrd's position in the KKK was
sure.
We don't know.
We're getting there.
All right.
Some dragon or something. Grand Dragon.
Grand Dragon.
Yeah. The Grand Dragon encouraged him to run for... I forgot that. The KKK convinced him to run.
Nice.
He ended up as high as... I don't know.
We don't know.
Senate Pro Tem?
He was exalted Cyclops.
Exalted Cyclops. Yeah.
Of the Ku Klux
Exalted.
Klan.
That's the word that escaped me.
Exalted Cyclops.
I mean, come on. If you're in any organization that refers to you as being exalted.
That's great.
Ugh.
Good stuff.
Gross.
So anyway, here's Biden praising him. The exalted Cyclops of the KKK.
There's also noted Robert C. Byrd was a parliamentary library, a keeper of the institution of the Senate, and he was the institution itself. But to me,
he was
and many people here today, like guys I see, Bill Bradley and Jim Sasser, who've long left the Senate for greener pastures, and I hope better remuneration.
Money.
Oh, jeez.
Used to kid about that too, but
pause it. Yeah, because
$175,000
is chicken feed.
Yeah, that's not going to do
nothing. That's nothing.
Ask Bob Menendez. Which, by the way,
right, his
trial is hysterical.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
I'm not even hearing anything about it.
Yeah.
It's actually going on right now.
Yeah. He was. We'll talk about it later.
All right.
But it's
interesting.
It's fun.
Okay, let him continue here.
But for a lot of us, he was a friend. And he was a mentor, and he was a guide.
Good friend, longtime friend.
Mm-hmm.
He was a guide. He was a mentor.
He was a guide in his racism. Good.
He's the Cyclops.
You want to learn
KKK.
You want to learn your racism from a real hardcore racist. Preferably somebody in the KKK who had a really great title like Exalted Cyclops.
We got someone for you, Joe. Oh my gosh. I mean, the hypocrisy.
Oh, it's incredible. And of course, we could go through, and maybe on Thursday we should go through all of the racist things he has said, because they're gonna use that stuff against him.
If you have a problem
Trump.
figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
Right.
This guy.
Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
Sure. Okay.
I mean, you got the first sort of mainstream African American who was articulate and bright, and clean, and nice-looking guy.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a storybook, man.
Storybook, man.
Thursday already?
Well, it started, so I just
Delaware, the
thought,
largest growth in population
why
is
not?
Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
You're not joking.
I'm not joking.
No, I'm really a racist. I'm not joking about this. Okay. All right. There's just a preview. We'll delve into it a little bit deeper on Thursday. And heading into the debate, Dr. Ronnie Jackson, who used to be the White House doctor and is now a congressman from here in Texas, he has a request ahead of the Thursday night debate.
I have sent 5 letters previously asking for President Biden to submit to a cognitive test, very similar to the one that President Trump got while he was president. And all 5 of those letters have gone completely ignored. So tomorrow I'm sending a letter to President Biden, to his physician, Dr. O'Connor, and I'm CCing his entire cabinet. And it's embarrassing that I have to do this, and it's really embarrassing as a former White House physician to have to do something like this, but we don't have any choice based on what's going on. But I'm going to be demanding on behalf of many millions of concerned Americans right now that he submit to a drug test before and after this debate, specifically looking for performance-enhancing drugs. Because we've seen recently in his State of the Union address that there was a Joe Biden that came out that was not similar at all to what we see on a day-to-day basis for the last 3.5 years. And there's just really no way to explain that other than he was on something, that they'd given him medications. I feel like this is probably what's going on over this week at Camp David. He's going to be at Camp David for a full week before the debate. Part of that is probably experimenting with, just getting the doses just right.
I love the
they
B-roll.
have to treat his cognition. They have to give him something to help him think straighter. They have to give him something to wake him up, for his alertness. And then, he's been agitated. We see that all the time, and that's a common symptom or sign of this cognitive disorder that he seems to be suffering from. And so they're probably going to give him something to take the edge off that as well.
You bet they are. They'll have him all roided up on Thursday night.
Roided up. Can we see? I saw this interesting graphic on Fox News before the show started. Took a picture, sent it in here. They only know. This is only the people they know of. At least 16 advisors who are preparing President Biden for the debate. Look at that. And I thought that doesn't even show the doctors that are charged with pumping him full of those drugs that Dr. Jackson was talking about. I thought Relocated Sensi Girl had a good point under my tweet. Or, hey, Siri, show me a picture of who's truly running our government. And there they are. I mean, look, you got Jake Sullivan up there. You got Anita Dunn.
Oh, boy.
I mean, that's a cast right there.
Ms. Lizard Tongue.
Uh-huh. But so there at least 16 advisors preparing him for the debate. I mean,
interesting. I mean, the one thing they can't prepare for is his brain just malfunctioning.
Yep.
And I know they're going to They're going to pump him full of something to try to ensure that doesn't happen, but you can't. You can't. Yeah. I mean, he did better at the State of the Union, but he wasn't under this kind of pressure. And he wasn't as good as they try to make it out to be in the State of the Union. He still struggled through a lot of it. It was better than we anticipated, but I'm just so hopeful this is not going to be.
Do you remember when we saw the deposition of Bill Clinton and we were told he loses his mind? Oh, he gets so enraged. And we watched every second of that freaking video and we waited for that moment when we're going to see him fly off the handle. He hardly did it all.
Yeah.
And it was such a letdown. We were waiting for that. If he doesn't fall on his face, it's going to, compared to what we're expecting, it's going to look like he is on top of his game.
Like, see, we told you he was capable of another term. This just proved it.
Yeah.
He sat right there with a runaway freight train and held his own. In fact, he beat him. That's what they'll say.
So
unless he completely malfunctions, which
I know, but that's our expectations. You know, we got to be careful.
I know.
And by the way, I did like this message from Pathead Likey Likes. You can always tell when they're Pathead.
Likey Likes.
Yeah. They said, I didn't say it first, but I'm going to repeat it. The only reason there won't be 2 convicted felons on stage Thursday is one was deemed unfit for trial.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Nice.
But they can be president of the United States, just not fit enough to stand trial. I mean, this country, what are we doing?
Jeez. You consider this. When we see him every single day, we see the meltdowns that are so regular. And then you think, all right, is this going to be better, worse, or about the same a year from now? If the guy's reelected. 2 years from now. 3, 4. I mean, it's impossible to believe he could actually pull off a full term. It's impossible. It can't happen. He's just going downhill too fast. And they, of course, deny that. With their dying breath, they'll deny that. Sharp as a tack, this guy.
4 years from now, 4.5 years, he won't be able to walk.
No, I know.
I didn't say walk from the White House to Marine One. I said walk.
Yeah.
Period.
Look how labored he is.
You think he's going to be the guy you want making?
I don't think so.
Life and death decisions?
I don't think so.
I was thinking, the way he's holed up for a week for this debate, he should be counting his blessings, and I hope to God this doesn't happen, but that there's not some national emergency where you have to get out in front, and they're going to have to unhook all of the tubes and all of the injections and be like, all right, get him in front of a camera.
I know I'm a new American, so you guys can correct me. Wasn't there a Democrat who was also a president and was like almost dead, and his wife took over?
Well, yeah, he was. He was completely incapacitated for the last 2 years. Woodrow Wilson. His wife basically ran the country. Pretty well-known fact now. But at the time, nobody knew it, of course.
So I feel like that's going to happen if he wins again.
Yeah, Jill Biden. Would you love that?
Definitely run the country.
I'm sure the Obama people would step in like they've already done.
Yeah.
But this would be a little bit different. It'd just be an Obama term, and it'd be a lot more.
Pull that off in the information age.
Yeah, it is. Yes. I mean, they really hid FDR and his problems from the public.
And they're doing everything they can with this guy. Limited public appearances, trying to stand between the camera and him when they walk out to the transportation that's waiting, pull up the limo right to the stairwell to block the cameras and make it the short stairs. So,
yep.
They're trying everything they can.
And still we see it. I mean, as much as they try to hide it from the American people, you can't. You can't hide everything. It's just too obvious. And when he gets out on camera, you can tell he's completely lost. When he's done with his press conference or whatever it is he's doing, he's completely lost.
Oh, my gosh. I hope there's a stage. Is there a stage on Thursday
I don't think
night?
so. I think they're sitting at a table is what I've heard.
Oh, I want to see him walk up and try to leave.
Be seated down.
Yeah, they're not even going to stand. So, I mean, literally everything you could possibly do to rig this in his behalf has been done.
You catch that? He's not going to have to find his way off stage.
Yeah.
That's playing to his weakness, or to hide his weakness. It's just something that innocuous, man. I mean, that's how bad this guy is.
Will they shake hands? Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
I would love to see if they shake hands.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. Meanwhile, Kamala Harris wants us to imagine January 20th, 2025. Okay.
I would ask people to really imagine what the world will be like on January 20th,
Okay.
2025.
All right. If
On the one hand, you have Joe Biden, who has spent his life and career fighting for the well-being of other people, including health care. On the other hand, you have the former president who spent full time when he was president trying to get rid of the Affordable Care Act, which, if he is successful as president again, would mean over 100 million people would be stripped of health care coverage. You have, on the one hand, Joe Biden, who under his leadership, bipartisan support for the first meaningful gun safety legislation in 30 years. And on the other hand, the former president, who, when speaking of survivors,
an attack on the Second Amendment,
horrendous gun violence, says, get over it, and will proudly talk about how, to the NRA, about how he did nothing on the issue. And I could go on and on. I think that the debate is going to make clear the contrast between
I think it
our
is.
president, the current
you got that
president,
part right,
who works on behalf of the American people, fights for the American people, and the former president, who pretty much spends full time fighting for himself.
Okay. On the one hand, she can imagine what will be, unburdened by what has been, right? On the other hand, Ukraine is a small country, and Russia is a big country. So the little country is being picked on by the big country bully. If you can imagine that, on the one hand, and then on the other hand.
Talking about the significance of the passage of time.
Oh, and the significance of the passage of time.
The significance of the passage of time.
Yeah.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs. And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
I mean,
it feels like she lost a bet and she was forced to say the same phrase.
I bet you can't get the significance of the passage of time phrase in there 5 times. And so she just proved him wrong. How long do I have? 30 seconds. 5 times in 30 seconds. Go! And she did. That's great.
And she did, because she did that all in 24 seconds.
24
seconds.
Good for her. Good for her. I hope she won $100 or whatever the bet was.
Can you raise your hand if you love a yellow school bus, right?
Right? Yeah, no. Why would I love a yellow school bus? Why? I don't understand.
That right crutch is just annoying me more and more and more that I hear it. Right?
Yes.
Right?
It's not just her, though.
I know.
Everybody does that.
Let's not be that first frog.
The first frog is the one that boils because, of course, you just gradually turn up.
Did you just fall out of the coconut tree?
You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?
I can't get her out of my head. Right?
Space that connects us all.
Us all. Do you have the Ukraine one where she tells us one country's big and the other country's little?
Ukraine is a country in Europe.
Nailed it. Boy, I don't like her.
Oh, man. What? How can that be, Keith Melanak?
Oh.
She's so brilliant.
I eat no for breakfast.
And she eats no for breakfast.
We know what you eat for breakfast.
That must be satisfying. I wonder how many calories no is. She was also at a reproductive freedom event. We'll get to that coming up. What her husband, Douglas Emhoff, the second gentleman, what did he have to say? Because I know we don't hear nearly enough from Douglas Emhoff.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
talking about the significance of the passage of time. Right? The significance of the passage of time.
The significance.
So when you think about it, there is great significance to the passage of time in terms of what we need to do to lay these wires, what we need to do to create these jobs.
Yeah.
And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Okay. Brilliant.
Cool.
Brilliant.
Oh, she sucks.
I mean, what is she even trying to say? It's so convoluted. Okay, so here's Kamala at a reproductive freedom event.
Francia and I were talking in the back because we were just like, we don't know how you do it. The first thing I asked is, how do you stay healthy? I'm tired.
What the hell is this?
I mean, I work out in the morning. I think it's important to eat breakfast.
Good stuff. She's a heartbeat away, and it ain't a really strong heartbeat either.
Then there's her husband, Douglas Emhoff. Well, I bet 90% of Americans could not name who Kamala Harris's husband is. I bet they couldn't. I bet it's 90 or more. 90 or more percent. Yeah. 95%? Is there 5% of America who know the name Douglas Emhoff?
Yeah, no, you're right.
I don't think so. But here's what you're going to know him, because listen to this.
Uh-oh.
She's the toughest person out there.
She's tough.
Oh, she's so tough. It just bounces right off of her.
And as for second gentleman Doug Emhoff, he is not California dreaming.
Do you ever think, well, you know, if things don't work out, we could always move back here and be just fine?
We're going to win this election. We have to win this election.
No.
Literally, our country and our world depends on us winning this election.
No.
That's what's going to happen.
Jeez. Oh, my gosh. What hard-hitting investigative journalism that was, though. You ever think you could move back here and be fine and really happy again? You think that?
I mean, that was what has enchanted you the most of the president's.
And Douglas, I don't mean to really pin you down here and press you against a wall.
Ask me anything.
But what is your favorite color?
She's tough. It bounces right off her. She's tough.
Wow. What is your favorite trait other than toughness of Kamala? What do you love most about her? What do you love most about your job?
Unbelievable.
So, hold on.
It's embarrassing.
Yeah, it is absolutely embarrassing. But you know what I picked up from that is that old Dougie Poo, he's not on the inner circle when it comes to how they're so confident they're going to win these elections. You know, like Joe and Nancy back in 2020, they knew. Yeah, we got this thing locked up. He's like, we have to win this for the sake of the country. We have to. Not, oh, we're going to totally win. Just don't worry about it. You know, either that or he's just really just a good actor. But I don't think he's on the inside.
Well, he certainly hasn't spent much time in the spotlight. Nobody's interested. I'm surprised that somebody did a little interview section with him. What was that? Do we know what that's on? Was that on
CBS on a morning
CBS
show?
News or
I thought it was like a
morning show thing? Yeah. Also, Maxine Waters is still out there embarrassing herself. This is fun. It's great to have her back in the public eye.
How concerned are you, Congresswoman, about your safety if Donald Trump is reelected?
What a tough question.
Well, I'm very concerned.
She's
not
very
only
concerned
about my safety and not only about the safety of members of Congress. I'm concerned about the safety of so many people in this country, particularly people of color. Trump has said, if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant,
wait, Donald Trump said this?
In a gasoline station. Yeah.
You get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome. So I say all of this talk is motivational with many of those who are racist, who are sitting at home listening to him, and they're taking him up on his threats even before the elections take place. And so it's about thousands, maybe millions of people, being threatened and being at risk because of Donald Trump and his desire to wreak revenge on anything and everybody.
Wreak revenge.
You don't want him wreaking revenge.
No, that smells bad.
If he smells like revenge, that would be really bad. Really, really bad. Yeah, it is her, as was pointed out in this clip. It is she who has been stoking the flames of violence, not Donald Trump. He's not telling you to get into people's face and demand that they not be where you are or anywhere else in society. Oh, these people are just so despicable. Jeez. Why do we even? How is it possible that Maxine Waters is still in office? She's got to be in her 80s as well. Isn't she?
Let's look. Hang on.
Low to mid 80s, I would guess.
Let's see here. 85. She'll be 86 in August.
85.
Get out.
Wow.
Of course, there are plenty of people that are.
Yes,
in her district, though, I bet there's quality people there that to replace her.
Sure. Oh, you know,
there'll just be younger versions of her.
Yep.
Lining up.
That's the problem, of course. But, wow. All right, we got some tweets here. Dr. Spoon's tweets. Tapper was never good. He was a press secretary for a Democrat, then worked for a gun control group before becoming a journalist. He's always been a fraud. Although I disagree that he's never been good. Now, I mean, we played many examples of where he treated Republicans and Democrats with equal disdain. Those days are long gone, but I think he did some good things.
The one thing I do appreciate and have always appreciated about Jake Tapper is his appreciation for our military. That's one area where he's solid.
Kind of like what's his face in that regard. You know, the mustachioed Fox News. Geraldo Rivera.
Well,
Rivera always supported the troops.
If you had said, dude posing in his towel for selfies, I would have been like,
at 70. Was he 70 or 71 when he did that?
I swear, if that towel had gotten any lower, there would have been a nice blur on that picture.
High Plains Stranger tweets, CNN will cut off Trump's mic every time he criticizes Biden under the guise of silencing his lies. The debate will be 90 minutes of Biden speaking nonsense and CNN nodding along. Dirty deeds, done dirt cheap fakes. Joe walked in and off stage. Please clap. Please clap. Rowdy introvert. It's not getting easy. It's not easy getting the right combination of uppers and downers to make a dementia patient appear like just an elderly man with a poor memory.
That's why they had to take a week to experiment on him. Let's see where he's at now.
Yeah. Camp David all this week. Not paying attention to anything else, apparently, just trying to get through this debate that's coming up.
I tell you, he needs a week to sit down.
Yes, he does. He needs more than that. I mean, then can you imagine if he does poorly, they won't want to showcase that a second time, and they'll call off the second debate. But if he does well, they won't want to chance it that he won't do well the next time, and they'll call it off anyway. I'll bet there's only one debate here.
They may call off the presidency, the whole campaign for him.
Yeah. All right, here's a Bidenomics update. Business Insider admits that the durable goods industries, such as cars and home appliances, are in a recession. Credit card delinquencies just hit a 10-year high at a time when the average interest rate for cards is, 21.59%. Almost 22%.
It's tough out there, man.
94.3 million American adults owe more in credit card debt than they have in savings, which is an all-time high. And liberal economist Paul Krugman says Democrats need to increase taxes another $530 billion to offset runaway government spending. Yeah, Bidenomics just destroying the nation. That's all.
We got the rent graph, guys. Put that up, because this tells you everything you need to know about
what Bidenomics has done to rent prices.
Yep. Look at this.
Oh, wow.
Look at that spike along about 21. What happened? What changed then? So it was around, just north of 1,100, and now it's
1,404.
More than 1,400 monthly rent.
Man.
Yeah, it's fine. It's transitory.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Right? It's you know when it transitions back is when we're done with Joe Biden as president. That's the transitory period.
Which is 209 days, 5 hours, 13 minutes, and 20 seconds.
I swear you've put pause on the calendar.
I do. As soon as the show is done, I pause it, and then I restarted the following day. Yes.
Wow.
Game with you, and it's not funny.
It's not.
It's really pissing me off.
It's just plain wrong, Chris.
You know what?
Just plain wrong.
Forget that your URL exists. Okay? Gosh.
All right. So how many of us love puppies? Like virtually everybody, right? They're sweet. They're cuddly. What's not to love? But can you imagine if puppies were being aborted out of their mother's womb and we celebrated that fact? Celebrate your puppy abortion. People go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Why are puppies more important than human babies? Preborn is the nation's leader in protecting the life of unborn human children by introducing babies to their mothers through an ultrasound. Babies' chance at life doubles when that happens. That's why Preborn and their network of clinics offer free ultrasounds to women with unplanned pregnancies in the highest abortion areas in the country. Through their good work, Preborn rescues 200 babies every day, and they don't stop there. They're a ministry of compassion, loving women and babies, offering assistance lasts up to 2 years. So things like baby formula and baby food and diapers and all of those things, they help the mother with. If you consider yourself pro-life, it's time to help the good work of Preborn. Please, if you can, one ultrasound is just $28. $140 helps rescue 5 babies. 5 babies for $140. Whatever you can afford, though, be greatly appreciated. To donate your best gift, dial pound 250, say the keyword baby, that's pound 250, keyword baby, or go to preborn.com/Pat.
Gray. Unleashed.
As we turn our attention to NATO, because did you see that Russia is directly blaming us now for an attack in Crimea that came from U.S. weapons? 5 missiles that we gave them that are longer range, and they used them, and Russia is not happy about it. And so they're threatening retaliation against us.
Yeah, they sure are. And there's been a lot of controversy since this video from the beach and kids were killed. I mean, it's ugly. But my understanding is the missiles from Ukraine were intercepted by Russia.
Yeah.
And then the fallout from that is what caused the harm.
That's what they're saying. Yeah. But was it, I don't know how many people died. Was it 4?
5, I believe, yeah.
4 or 5, but hundreds were injured.
Yes.
82, I think, went to a hospital. So, who knows? I mean, it's interesting to me that they're so pissed off about this, but they have shelled Ukrainian cities over and over and over and over again, indiscriminately killing thousands, if not tens of thousands of Ukrainian citizens. But now this is a real problem all of a sudden. So now they're threatening us. They're threatening NATO. And that brings up, all right, what are our allies in NATO like? How seriously do they take the treaty, the alliance, the partnership? Like Canada, for instance. They're part of NATO, but they're one of a handful of NATO allies that won't reach the requisite benchmark for defense spending and won't likely hit it for many years. They are thought to be the biggest freeloader in the alliance. All NATO allies are required to spend at least 2% of their country's gross domestic product. And Russia's war in Ukraine has prompted several allies to dramatically increase spending, like, I don't know, the United States. Of the 32 countries in the alliance, Iceland doesn't even have a military. Okay. What, are there 300,000 people in the whole country or something? And 23 countries are expected to meet the benchmark. The allies that are expected not to reach the 2% threshold, though, are Croatia, Portugal, Italy, Canada, Belgium, Luxembourg, Slovenia, and Spain. So none of them are pulling their weight. But if they're ever attacked, we got to jump to their rescue.
These are like welfare recipients.
Yes.
It's like we're paying for their protection, and they're not doing. They can't even get off the couch to help out. Okay.
Yeah. It's time to reevaluate. Yes. Time to reevaluate. And the good thing one of the good things about Trump is that he will reevaluate. He did it last time. He was pissed off that people weren't pulling their own weight. Canadian Defense Minister Bill Blair acknowledged last week that it should reach the 2% marker by the end of the decade.
We'll get back to you. To quote Jeffy, don't worry about it. We'll write a check eventually.
Don't worry about, first of all, don't worry about how much I'm spending for our defense.
Okay.
They're going to spend about 1.37% this year, apparently.
Okay, cool.
Said Canada's defense spending will likely be increased to at least 1.75% by 2029. That's still not the benchmark. It's still not there. What do you mean?
What I can't get over is the fact that they are so hell-bent on drawing the ire of Russia because it's so important that we put Ukraine in NATO. You know, maybe NATO could have an election before we revisit anything about NATO.
Yeah.
I love there was a soccer match and they made them take down this Ukrainian flag that said "Give us our elections back." That was we can't have any political signs here. You know, honestly, when you can do some free and fair elections, then we'll talk.
Yeah.
It's like it's madness, man. This administration wants nothing more than a war before the election.
And of course, Canada is so busy pumping all their money into curling.
Wait a minute.
That there's nothing left over for defense. So I think that's their problem.
It's a problem?
Yeah, that's their problem.
Curling's awesome.
So awesome that they can't defend themselves?
Pat Gray, Unleashed.
Pat Gray is here on the Blaze Radio Network.
With some tweets, Anthony Osh tweets, on the one hand, who doesn't like school buses? On the other hand, Venn diagrams. Right? Right? In terms of things Kamala says. Yeah. Liberalism causes truth blindness. Tweets, the Affordable Health Care Act is costing me $900 a month for medical insurance.
Oh.
Stick that in your Venn diagram.
Okay.
Michael NP 1701, Doug Imhoff is the voice of Stockholm Syndrome, if ever there was one. Giblets, the second gentleman didn't even mention saving democracy. Rookie. And first-time artist in need of Sugar Buddy. But what is Dougie's favorite word? That's a good question.
What is your favorite word?
Right.
And I said, my favorite word,
favorite
that
word,
is really easy.
That's really easy.
My favorite word is the word.
The word.
Is the word.
Is the word.
And that is everything. It says it all for us.
The word.
And you know the biblical reference. You know the gospel reference of the word.
But do you? And that's the real question here.
Okay, because I know you were following along. I told you I had two. Okay, so let me tell you.
All right.
I love Venn diagrams.
Who doesn't?
I love Venn diagrams. You know the three circles? I love Venn diagrams. Yeah. You're just cracking up, right? So I asked my team, tell me,
from which states are we seeing attacks on reproductive health care?
All right.
Attacks on voting rights.
Okay.
And attacks on LGBTQ plus rights.
Listen to them snapping. They're snapping.
Texas,
instead of applauding.
Mm-hmm.
Georgia. Okay, so there you go.
What?
Okay.
There's
so
attacks
you are not
on
surprised to know that
voting
there's an
rights?
overlap. But here's what that Venn diagram also tells us.
Okay, what else?
Don't do it.
Great, great, great reminder of the power of coalition building.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Well, I think it tells us about the great, great power of coalition building. Isn't that what it says? And then, yeah, sure enough, she confirmed it. Thank you. Thank you for the snap applause there. Have you seen the video of African migrants parading down the streets of a neighborhood in Ireland?
This is good.
This is fun.
Look at this cultural enrichment.
Okay. Yeah. Diversity, man.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He's got his machete out. Yeah, look at that.
There you go.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You're cool. That's great.
The third worldification of the West continues.
Jeez. Huh. Probably meant to intimidate the local Irish population a bit.
Boy, Ireland, man.
Wow. Yeah, because it's not just here. We're not the only ones where immigration is out of control. It's happening all over Europe. Listen to this incredible story from Germany. There's a 20-year-old woman in Hamburg who's been sent to prison after making hateful remarks toward a migrant who was involved in the gang rape of a child. The woman is just one of 140 people being investigated for making harmful comments toward the rapists.
This story is absolutely mind-boggling.
The horrific assault took place in 2020 and involved multiple groups of migrant men independently attacking a 14-year-old girl in Hamburg's Stadtpark over the course of a night. The park had become a popular hangout spot for youth during the COVID-19 lockdowns, and the girl had been there drinking with her friends, but they became scattered after police swept the park and broke up the groups while enforcing the social distancing measures.
Did you hear that? You hear that? Kids hanging out at the park. Oh, no, get out of here, y'all. Mm-hmm. So it's a COVID policy.
And again, there's never been anybody who contracted COVID outdoors in a setting like this. Confused and alone, the girl was defenseless against the first mob of 4 predators. The men took turns on the girl, repeatedly raping her over an extended period of time. They robbed her of her wallet and cell phone before leaving her. Traumatized and disoriented from the attack and having no method of calling for help, the girl was assaulted a second time by 2 more men who took advantage of her vulnerable state.
It gets worse.
Disturbingly, her assailants had begun inviting other men to rape her via their chat groups, gleefully sharing the news that there was an isolated teenage girl in the dark park with no potential witnesses. The child was attacked a 3rd time by a single man, and then a 4th time by 3 more men who dragged her into a bush and sexually assaulted her again. Finally, the child managed to break away and ran, though pursued by her rapists. Eventually, she came across people who recognized her traumatized state and immediately called the police. Total of 11 men were initially charged, but 2 were acquitted quickly due to a lack of DNA evidence. They found DNA, you can imagine what kind, of the men, and successfully recovered all of that from the girl's body. 5 of the men were in possession of German passports, while the remainder were not citizens of Germany. Among those charged, none were of German heritage. The rapists were identified as Polish and Egyptian, a Libyan, a Kuwaiti, an Iranian, an Armenian, an Afghan, a Syrian, and a Montenegrin. Videos of the 1st and 3rd rapes had been recorded and shared by the assailants to contacts through WhatsApp, but the videos were deleted before the case could be heard in court. Witnesses who did see the footage before its deletion did testify that it depicted clear sexual assault, with one noting that the girl had been holding her hands over her head in a protective position. During the trial, the victim, of course, now suffers from PTSD, as you can imagine, was called upon to speak about what happened to her while she recounted her horrific ordeal. The men showed no signs of remorse, and at least one is said to have almost fallen asleep during the proceedings. However, despite DNA and WhatsApp evidence, 8 of the 9 men convicted walked free with probation and spent no time in prison at all. The 9th was sentenced to 2 years and 9 months in prison without parole. The case caused outrage in Germany, both for the brutality of the rape itself and the lenient sentences given to the rapists. As a result, one of the men had his identity and phone number circulated on Snapchat by furious sleuths.
Now listen to this.
Angered by the news of the case, a 20-year-old woman from Hamburg messaged the number through WhatsApp. The unnamed woman called him a dishonorable racist pig. Dishonorable rapist pig, which he was. And a disgusting miscarriage. Are you ashamed when you look in the mirror? The targeted rapist then reported the woman to police, and she was charged with sending him insulting messages.
Wow.
That's an actual crime, an insulting message?
Mm-hmm. Oh, it gets better.
The woman has now been convicted and sentenced to a weekend in prison for her remarks, meaning that she'll have to spend more time in jail than 8 of the 9 rapists.
What a bizarro world this is, man.
In court, the woman apologized for her remarks, saying she acted out of a reflex upon hearing the sickening details of the case. This woman is not the only person who could be facing conviction for insulting rapists. Authorities in Hamburg are reportedly investigating 140 people for offenses related to insulting, threats, or other detriment comments toward the predators.
I can't, man. I can't.
Wow. That is one of the most incredible stories I've ever seen. Are you kidding me? So the rapists themselves, 8 out of 9, spend no time in jail.
Yeah, probation.
She goes to jail for a weekend.
They have DNA evidence of these guys.
Oh, my gosh.
And the best you can do is probation? And
a 14-year-old girl.
14-year-old child.
Jeez. Oh, that's incredible.
You're talking about being out of words,
and then
man.
you've insulted one of these honorable men.
Yeah. You called him a pig and a rapist.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Well, then you're going to go to the pokey now. But those guys, they're
no,
fine.
They're fine. Don't worry about it.
I don't even know.
There's no words there. There's just no words. My gosh, that's incredible.
Yeah, that's...
Wow. Meanwhile, back here in America, we have this. Students at Schuler Colfax Middle School in Wayne, New Jersey were asked to select one answer in a multiple choice test that fits with the description. It is a terrorist organization that commits acts of violence, destroys cultural artifacts, and encourages loss of life in order to achieve its goal of global rule under strict Islamic Sharia law.
It's amazing that story made into a textbook.
Yeah.
In New Jersey, of all places. So shout out to whoever approved that textbook.
The choice of answers was the Islamic State, Peru's The Shining Path, Al-Qaeda, and the Palestinian Liberation Organization, with Islamic State being the correct answer, of course. In response, a group known as Teaching While Muslim, TWM, charged, quote, "We have seen anti-Muslim and anti-Palestinian sentiments, teachers, and content in our schools over and over again. But we must not allow it to continue," unquote. Social media post from the group continued, Call and email everyone you can. This is not okay on a million levels.
They got their minions ready.
Go. And yes, this is real. The post ended with the hashtags anti-Muslim racism and Islamophobia. No, it's truth.
They just called out ISIS.
True.
Wasn't ISIS the correct answer?
Yeah.
So effectively, we're apologizing to ISIS now.
Jeez.
Yeah, that seems about on point there.
In a further statement, the group claimed that the test wrongly implies that terrorism is a fundamental part of an Islamic State. What? And has a goal of achieving global rule under strict Sharia law. Huh. So the school apologized, of course, for informing the students that ISIS is a terrorist group. Oh, gotta be kidding me.
What is happening?
Well, and everybody knows that the real terrorism, the real issue, especially in this country, homeschoolers.
Oh, that's a fact. Yeah. They're just breeding domestic terrorists.
For 24 years, we were domestic terrorists, homeschooling.
Yeah.
We've seen the error of our ways. We've tried to repent as much as we can. Of course, we can never undo the damage we've already done to society.
Sure.
Keith, I believe you've done some of the damage as well.
Yeah. We set up a terrorist training camp in our house, made like a little obstacle course in the kitchen, because at lunchtime, you require your kids make their own lunches.
Ooh.
And so you lay out stuff and put like little, you pull the garbage can out where they're not expecting it, and they have to go around it. And it's a thing.
But they develop cat-like reflexes
Sure do.
after you do that,
handy.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So that's
right.
good. Scientific America is trying to fix the domestic terrorism known as homeschooling.
Yeah.
The number of children being educated at home has been growing for the past few decades, they write. No one knows by how much, and that's part of the problem. Homeschooling is barely tracked or regulated in the U.S., but children deserve a safe and robust education, whether they attend a traditional school or are educated at home. National Center for Education Statistics reported that by last count in 2019, nearly 3% of U.S. children, 1.5 million, were being homeschooled. Oh, my God. Oh, no. I believe the figure is much higher than that, probably more like double that at least. This number calculated from a nationwide survey is surely an undercount, right? Because the homeschooling population is notoriously hard to survey, and more children have been homeschooled since the COVID pandemic began.
Exactly.
11 states do not require parents to inform anyone that they're homeschooling a child. How dare they?
I know.
Allow the parents to focus on their children and not worry about whether the state knows about it or not. In most of the country, once a child has exited the traditional schoolroom environment, no one checks to ensure they're receiving an education at all. Homeschooled students have won the National Spelling Bee. One was the most prolific mathematician in history.
Listen to these telltale signs. Your kid is smart. Yeah, they must be homeschooled.
Many are well-rounded and well-adjusted children who go on to thrive as adults.
They put that in there like, here's a shocking fact. Homeschool kids are normal.
But others do not receive a meaningful education, and too many have suffered horrific abuse.
Okay,
because they never get abused at school.
No.
There's no bullying. There's no drugs. There's no violence.
There's no teachers trying to convince you to chop off your wang.
None
of that. None of that.
Right. And wang chopping, I think that's they teach that in homeroom, I think, even before you go to your separate classes.
Yeah, all that time they wasted on used to say the Pledge of Allegiance is now lessons on how to take body parts off.
The federal government must develop basic standards for safety and quality of education and homeschooling across the country.
No, that's why we homeschool, so we don't have to follow your stupid rules.
When a traditional classroom setting cannot meet the educational, social, or emotional needs of a child, homeschool, and who decides that, by the way? Homeschooling can allow parents to take over for children facing bullying or gun violence or who need more challenging or more advanced schoolwork. A homeschooling environment may be best. Some children may not be receiving any instruction at all, though. Most states don't require homeschooled kids to be assessed on specific topics.
Good. I've said it before, and I absolutely mean it.
Jeez.
If your kid is sitting at home staring at a wall, less harm is being done to them than if they're in a public school for 8 hours a day.
It's for sure. I've talked about before the fact that there was something really prevalent in the early 90s, and maybe it still is, I don't know, but it was called unschooling. Where you just allowed your kids to kind of experience nature and animals and whatever it was they were super interested in. You just focused on that for a while and see where that leads. Because the things that they're really interested in, they're going to want to learn about. And it works really well. Actually, if you do it right, it works really well. But they go on to state.
But they don't become little indoctrination soldiers for the government?
No, and that's wrong, of course. Yeah, spewing propaganda from the Biden administration. It is clear that homeschooling will continue to lack accountability for outcomes or even basic safety in most states, but federal mandates for reporting and assessment to protect children don't need to be onerous. For example, homeschool parents could be required to pass an initial background check, as every state requires for all K through 12 teachers. Homeschool, these are people dealing with other people's kids, not your own. Homeschool instructors could be required to submit documents every year. Yeah, we had to do that in Maryland. That was back in the early 90s. I don't know if they still require that, but every year their local school district or state agency has to be shown that what the children are learning. You go over your curriculum and what they've done. Education is a basic human right. We need to make sure kids have chances to instigate and investigate what makes them curious, study history and science and reading, and ask questions and learn from others. We want them to reach adulthood ready to take on the world, which won't happen if you give them a public school education. That's almost certain. Actually, there are some good, public schools. But I think they're becoming fewer and farther between now.
Yeah, I'm going to let other people discover if that's true.
Yeah.
Not my kids.
Right. Exactly. If you want yours to be, the guinea pig for that, then so be it. And, a lot of people just, they can't handle it. They can't do it logistically. And it probably isn't for everybody. But, man, then if you can do it.
Then find a state where you don't have to report.
Yeah.
Park your kid in a chair. Face a wall. And again, less damage is being done than if you take that kid to a public school.
And come on, if Jeffy can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Did they homeschool?
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Huh.
That's what I'm saying.
Wow.
If the Fisher family can do it, led by Jeff Fisher, anybody can do it.
All right, let me tell you why it's important for you to have a Jace case. Nobody who looks at our economy for more than a minute or two thinks it's getting better. I mean, inflation is still high and could easily get higher soon, and it has a spiraling effect, too. People aren't able to pay their expenses, so they're falling further and further behind. Consumer sentiment is at its lowest level in the past year. So things are not great right now, and we've got shortages all around. We've got breaks in the supply chain. Sometimes the medication you really need, and you need it right now, just not available. So what do? You get the Jace case. The Jace case is a personalized emergency food drug kit that contains essential antibiotics and medications that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. So if you have this on hand and there's a shortage of amoxicillin or whatever, you don't have to worry about it. It's just so great. Just go online and fill out a simple form and you'll have it. You'll have what you need in case of any emergency or just inconvenience. I mean, if you take this with you on a trip and somebody gets sick on the trip, you get a sinus infection or whatever. It happens to me almost every time I'm on vacation. And you're not near your doctor or your pharmacy, then you've got the Jace case right there handy. Go to jace.com, jacemedical.com, enter the promo code PAT at checkout, and you'll get a nice discount on your order. That's promo code PAT at JASE, jacemedical.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed. Missed an episode? Catch up anytime, anywhere podcasts are found. Pat Gray will be right back.
few tweets here. Hee-Haw the Viking tweets, which of these NATO countries will come to our aid if we're attacked?
That's awesome.
Iceland gonna send some troops? Damn right we need to reevaluate. Yeah. Yes, we do. I don't... Is there a country that would help? Maybe UK. Maybe the UK would. I don't know, since we've fought several battles for and with them. So you'd like to think, you'd like to hope. I mean, and they did join us in Iraq, in Afghanistan, so I think they probably would. But anybody else? Iceland? Hello?
Iceland. That's awesome.
Puerto Rico will join you.
Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
All right. Yeah. The Puerto Rican troops are known to be vicious.
We
are.
They
They not?
Oh, we got machetes.
Yeah.
Just like that.
Wait,
Machetes.
you got what now?
Machetes.
Let me give you a little English lesson here. It's machetes. Machetes. Yeah.
Let's pretend we're not in the middle of tweets while you're giving that English lesson.
Oh, wow. Let's do pretend that. Let's just say that was an English lesson for Chris.
Impromptu, you might say.
Right. Yeah, it just happened spontaneously. Like combustion. Unrepentant thought criminal. It's not homeschooling. It's undocumented education.
Yes!
That's how we need to approach it. You ain't country. I wonder if the punishment would be different in Germany if it were a roaming group of white men that gang raped a Muslim child. Yeah. You bet it would.
Might play out differently.
Sarah the Band, when a rapist's feelings are more important than the victim's, you're in the wrong country.
Gosh, we're in the wrong...
Not the truth.
Universe.
Yeah. All right, we're going to talk to Hilary Kennedy coming up next. She's got a number of things, I believe, to go over. We'll do that next.
I love Venn diagrams. I love Venn diagrams. You know the 3 circles? I love Venn diagrams. You're just cracking up, right?
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.
Joining us right now, Hilary Kennedy from the 4-Minute Buzz, and of course, HilaryKennedy.com, where you give advice on all kinds of things, right?
I do.
Yeah. Everything from like home decor to
home remedies, health stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I've been trying to get Keith to try garlic to cure pretty much everything. I don't think he's done it yet. It's smelly, but it works.
Somebody reported some burns on the bottom of their feet after trying your little garlic trick.
Well, you're not supposed to like...
I didn't try this. This is someone online.
Well, I've done it like
you
100
shouldn't
times.
set it on fire.
Right.
So if that's what you're doing, you're doing it wrong.
Okay.
You're doing it wrong. Yeah.
But today, I will pass on the garlic talk because I know I've talked about garlic a lot. But I am going to talk about my favorite fighter, Conor McGregor.
Oh, okay.
Conor McGregor.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this is a sad update, unfortunately. We've been waiting for him to fight Michael Chandler for basically years now. They've been hyping this up, and it was finally going to happen this summer. And Conor has backed out. And we have a clip explaining why, but apparently he broke a little toe. So
good.
Okay.
We have a clip of them talking.
You know, I'm still here rocking away. You know, I had a little lapse of concentration and, you know, I had to reschedule the bout. So I'm a little upset about that. But, you know, it's keeping me dialed in. It's keeping me focused. You know, I can't rock around like I'm at the showing up, like I'm at the doing me job. The job is not done. So, you know, that's not bad for me, for someone like me, you know. So I'm onwards towards the new date and, you know, take my lessons learned. There was a lapse in concentration. If I was any one of these other little bums that can't move, that have no footwork, I don't rely on their skills, you know, then I would be okay. And I've done it before. I've made the walk a multitude of times under those circumstances and given these bums an advantage over me that they don't even deserve. So now I'm dialing it in. I'm getting this training camps correct. I'm walking in there 100% Conor McGregor, injury-free. Perfection is on the menu with me. And that's it. So,
He's trying to keep the hype going.
Okay.
Because, I mean, this delay, it's been going on and on and on. And people keep telling Michael Chandler, like, dude, you could have taken 2 or 3 fights since all of this started.
Oh, he's going to be upset.
But Conor McGregor said Chandler's going to be getting paid 10 times of what his contract states for other fights. So he was like, he would need to fight 10 fights to make what he would make in this one. And he said, I'm the one. So he was like, don't take any fights until our fight.
And by the way, you fell victim to the no video clause as well. So I drew Conor McGregor.
Oh, there he is.
That's a great representation.
Yeah.
Because you got the muscles.
Yeah.
Right? So
Did you get the broken toe?
Yep.
I mean, that's clearly.
Oh, yeah.
You sure that?
And the broken toe.
Yeah. There you go.
That's not the actual photograph, though, right? That we would get sued for. I mean, it looks
identical.
so
hard to tell, Pat.
Realistic.
Pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's a big bummer. People keep asking Dana White, when will it be rescheduled for? And he basically said, I'm not doing anything until I know for sure that Conor's healthy. So no update on that, unfortunately. But I have another favorite fighter, and we've talked about him on this show before, Bryce Mitchell. He's also known as Thug Nasty.
Thug Nasty.
He is he's from Arkansas, and he's really gaining a lot of popularity amongst fans. I mean, people that aren't even UFC fans, honestly, because he's very pro-America, pro-Christian, pro-guns. And we've got 2 clips from him that I think people will find really interesting. The first one, he's talking about the importance of farmers.
Everything you love is fed by a farmer. We need more farmers, okay? I can sit here and thank everybody in the country for everything that they do, all their professions. But at the end of the day, there ain't none of that without farmers. Farmers is the backbone for everything that you love and all the freedoms we have in this country. It comes down to farmers. No farmers, no food. No food, no freedom. The food is your freedom. That's what I'm trying to tell people. And I'm ready to die for it. You know, I'm not letting them take these cows how they're trying to do over in Europe. They say they're putting a quota or a maximum on the number of cows. They're trying to put these cows down. I'm telling you, I'll start World War III in my driveway if you come for my cows. I'm ready to fight for our food. I'm ready to fight for our freedom. That's the real fight. You're not going to save lives going and dying in Ukraine. You're not going to save lives going over to Israel and dying. You can save lives and fight for good by having a farm. And that's what I'm here to do.
Okay.
All right, look at this. I've updated the picture. He's in Arkansas. I drew the
Nice.
outline of the state of Arkansas. A little rough on that, I guess. Is he a champion, by the way?
He's done really well.
Okay.
He's really mainly more known for his views.
Okay. I don't need to add a championship belt or anything. Okay.
No, but
Apparently not.
He's making a great point, and then he offered on that post on social media some advice on what we can do to support our farmers, and he was like, buy local meats and veggies. He said, go shake your rancher's hand, advise all of your friends and family to do the same. And he said, this is how we win, which I love. But we have another clip where now you're going to have to draw him holding like an AR-15 or something, Keith. He's holding a firearm.
Okay.
And talking about America. So let's listen to this one.
Mass shooting today in Arkansas. 3 innocent people are dead. One's a mother, is a nurse, and then there's a 10-year-old kid, and I'm unsure about the 3rd victim. But I'm going to be praying for all of these families in the name of Jesus Christ. And for y'all who don't know, we're up against spiritual wickedness right now. These people that are doing these shootings, they're not in their right mind. They're infested with demons. And if we don't pray together and pray in the name of Jesus Christ, we're not going to be protected. The reason this nation has fallen is because we've turned our back on Jesus Christ. And now we can't even go to the store with safety. We can't send our kids to school and then be safe no more because we've turned from Jesus Christ and demons are taking over. So I just wanted to encourage y'all to pray for these people and show everybody love. That's the only way we're going to win. I want to thank Sarah Sanders for not being a communist, for not being a coward, or not being a wimp like Matthew McConaughey. Remember when there was a shooting in Matthew McConaughey's town, he tried to take guns from everybody. You got to remember that, okay? The answer ain't taking guns from the good guys. Okay, the bad guys with guns are only going to be stopped by good guys with guns. I love you, Sarah Sanders. I love Arkansas. I want to end with a Bible verse that perfectly relates to what we're going through as a nation.
Okay.
It's Ephesians 6:12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against the powers, against the rulers of darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Amen.
That's a fact.
So
I've updated it. There's
perfect.
Okay, there. Oh.
He's shooting down, of course, at the ground.
Yeah.
Where else would you shoot?
Perfect depiction. So that's on the positive side, I feel like, of the UFC. It's one thing that we all love about those fighters, even if you're not someone that likes to watch fights.
Yep.
They're very pro-America. They're very outspoken about their beliefs, and Dana White doesn't censor any of them, which I love. But on the flip side of this, I know you guys have talked about it. We've talked about it here the past couple of days about the terrorist attack in southern Russia on Sunday, where all these terrorists came in and attacked churches and
synagogues, police station. Yeah, I don't
killed like 15 of their police officers.
Very coordinated.
They executed a priest in a very gruesome way.
Yes.
Well, one of those terrorists was a UFC fighter. And his name is Gadzhimurad Kagarov. He was a 28-year-old MMA fighter, and he trained under Khabib Nurmagomedov and his father. So that was kind of shocking. He was given the title Master of Sport, which is like an honorary title for the successful athletes in Russia. But he was involved with the training facility there that was paid for by an oligarch that Nurmagomedov has had his surgeries and some of his training camps and things paid for. So there's some weird terrorist ties there.
And he was one of the ones taken out.
Yes, so he was killed. So anyway.
Wow.
I mean,
wow.
One less in the world.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was pretty shocking because he was kind of he was a well-known MMA fighter in Russia, and he'd kind of been gaining some steam. So that was interesting. And then my last story. So the Tyson and Jake Paul fight.
I know.
Oh, it's such a bummer. Now they're saying it's still going to happen in November.
Yeah.
So it is still
November
supposed
15th,
to happen.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
But Tyson had an ulcer that flared up, and so they had to cancel and all that. But in the meantime, Jake Paul's taken another fight with a former MMA fighter turned bare knuckle brawler Mike Perry. Mike Perry is a bad dude. Like he's Mike Tyson scary bad. And so we have a clip of Jake Paul saying why he decided to take this fight before he fights Tyson, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, the news is true, folks. I, Jake Paul, will be fighting Mike Perry, Tampa, Florida, July 20th. Let's cut to the chase and get into the nitty gritty. Why Mike Perry? Why now? Why not just wait? What about Mike Tyson? Yes, I am still fighting Mike Tyson November 15th. However, Mike Tyson is one of the baddest men on this planet. He has way more experience than me. He's a killer. And so why not gain more experience against another notorious known killer? Mike Perry, the bare knuckle legend, the man that can't be knocked out, the vicious, violent brawler. This guy is a fucking lunatic. He's undefeated in bare knuckle, which is probably the craziest sport in the world. And not to mention this fight has been brewing for years. Mike Perry has been talking to me nonstop, and I do think this guy is funny. I like his talk, and I think this fight is going to have some amazing press conference moments and really entertaining stuff that comes from it. But it is a major risk. I'm literally potentially sacrificing the biggest moment of my career, the biggest payday of my career, if I lose to Mike Perry.
It's true.
So if he loses to him, the Tyson one will be?
I mean...
It's not bare knuckle, though, right?
No, but he did say if this goes well, he would consider doing a bare knuckle fight. He was like, I'm up for anything. He said, what people don't understand about me is I'm completely insane, and I'm willing to do pretty much anything.
Picking up on that.
Yeah.
But he's friends with Hulk Hogan, and Hulk Hogan ran into Jake Paul at a Formula One event in Miami recently, and Hulk Hogan said he pulled him aside and was like, level with me. Is this Tyson fight? Is this some WWE stuff? Is it kind of just for show, or is this the real deal? And Jake Paul was like, I'm going to knock him out. It is the real deal. So,
brother, level with me.
Well, the quote is, I want both men at 100%. I get the feeling this will be the fight of the century, brothers.
Brothers. He got brothers in there. And he's talking about Jake Paul and Mike Tyson?
Yes.
There's a depiction.
Mike Tyson, obviously.
Got the tattoo right there and stuff.
Yeah.
And he's got boxing gloves. Yeah.
Nicely done.
Thank you.
Artist rendition again. This is not the copyrighted photo of Mike Tyson.
This is an imitation.
So
but
you can't sue us for
the
this.
The likeness is
Did you get the flare up?
It's chilling.
Remember?
Hang on a second.
Chillingly realistic.
And then he's got
there's the ulcer flare up is happening right there.
And you can see right here.
Look at that.
In real time.
His tummy saying, ouch.
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, if he gets hit there.
Oh, gosh.
During this flare-up.
Oh.
Apparently, that could burst his stomach lining open.
Right.
And spill bile into his system and kill him.
So why we aren't still going ahead with the fight in July, I can't figure it out. I mean, that's that's what we're paying to see.
Bloodlust over here.
That's what we're paying to see. They're really depriving the real fans of the true action.
You are brutal.
And Mike Tyson is supposed to be incredibly tough.
Right.
An ulcer, come on.
Come on.
You can wait
what
till
kind
November.
of sissy is he? All right.
All right, that's your fight news.
Thanks, Hillary.
Yeah.
We're watching for you on the 4-minute buzz coming up in a few minutes. If you're tired of costly HEPA air filter replacements, you can say goodbye to those. And nasty home odors, and some owners might be eliminated here too. I'm not sure. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier eliminates bad smells. It also eliminates the replacement filters because it has the Oxy technology. It sends out O3 molecules.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah, go ahead.
No.
I just kind of already answered that question. But if he were here, he'd be asking it anyway.
Exactly.
But the odors in your home will disappear in seconds. It's just, these are fantastic and so easy to install. You just pop up the plug-in, put it in the wall, turn it on, and it starts working. And seriously, seconds later, you won't be smelling whatever nasty smell was in your house. Get $200 off a 3-pack today. For whole home protection, go to EdenPureDeals.com. Use a discount code PAT3. That's PAT3 at Eden, E-D-E-N. EdenPureDeals.com.
Pat Gray Unleashed.
On Friday, we'll not be having our normal Free Thought Friday program, with things like the JFK assassination, looking into the disappearance of the Malaysian flight, all of that kind of stuff that we normally do on the last Friday of the month because it is the debate day. We'll be going over the debate with Trump and Biden, which will happen Thursday night. I mean, that is coming right up on us, and everybody was predicting he's going to drop out. Biden is going to find a way out of this thing. Don't think so. Sure doesn't look like it.
When does the Democrat convention begin?
Is it in August?
Is it August? Yeah. I think it's in August.
August 19th.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, the Blaze will be covering the debate on Thursday night.
Are we showing it?
Yeah. I don't know if we're showing it, but I know we're covering it.
Okay. Well, good. Good. Is Glenn going to be here for that?
I have no idea.
No idea.
It just...
All right. Maybe you should have had some information before you brought it up.
I tried to get as much information as I could last night.
And you couldn't?
All I got was the Instagram post. So
okay. All right. We were talking about public school education a little while ago. Thought I'd share the most expensive places you can go to higher education schools. This is amazing. They've done an analysis of the most expensive universities in the country and what that will set you back, especially as we're hearing about student loan debt right now and whether or not it should be wiped out and eliminated for everybody. At the average college fee has gone in the last 60 years from $5,369 per year, okay? $5,369 per year. That was in 1963. Today it is $17,709. Now that's just for all colleges. That does not include the most, it includes it, but the most expensive colleges in the country, it can cost you over $500,000 for your 4-year experience. Columbia in New York, of course, an Ivy League school, $500,000. This is figuring tuition and, whatever, wherever you stay, the food.
Room and board, right?
Room and board, yeah. $514,442 to go to Columbia.
Please brainwash my child that I've spent 18 years.
And let me pay over $500,000 for that.
And then for that, yes. Oh my goodness, no.
NYU, $497,402. So very, very close to $500,000 a year, or for the 4 years. Georgetown, $472,000 plus. Harvard, $472,000. Caltech, $458,000. Geez, Southern Cal, USC, $457,000 to go to that school. Whew. University of Chicago, $455,000. George Washington University in D.C., $454,000. Yale, $451,000. And MIT, $441,948. Wow.
So not worth it.
Wow. And your whole worldview is going to be reshaped. If you send a conservative kid to one of these schools, they're going to remake them in their image. They're going to beat everything out of them that you tried to instill in them. I mean, it is not worth it. Wow. All of the 10 most expensive schools, self-financial identified, are private, which makes sense given that those institutions typically charge higher tuition than public schools. But private colleges often offer generous financial aid and scholarship packages. So your costs to attend, they say, may be even lower than that of a public university. Students receiving financial aid at Harvard, for example, pay an average of $19,500 a year. Whereas at the University of Massachusetts in Amherst, you would pay $21,846 a year. Interesting. But again, you got to kind of weigh what the college experience is going to be for your child when you send them there, because it could be completely different than you expect.
Mm-hmm.
They could come out literal zombies for the Biden administration, because that's what they're trying to produce here. Also, New Jersey Senator Bob Menendez is in court this week. Keith, walk us through. We have some videos of him? Or?
We don't have any videos, but I had a story here that... So it got really suspicious for his staff when he started doing these private meetings without them, with these Egyptian officials. Did it? And he was doing handwritten notes. What they said was completely odd that a senator would do that. But the thing that the defense is leaning on, this is so funny, speech and debate clause.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's preventing some of the evidence from being presented because he's leaning on that. So I was like, all right, let me go to the Constitution. Let me look up the speech and debate clause. They shall in all cases, except treason, felony, and breach of the peace, be privileged from arrest during their attendance at the session of their respective houses and in going to and returning from the same. And for any speech or debate in either house, they shall not be questioned in any other place. So it's actually working, it seems like. I think he's going to get off. I think Bob Menendez is going to survive this, just on the early showings here with the trial. Because that right there has kept some of the evidence from being presented. So I don't know, man, but his staff
unbelievable
is speaking out against the way he was doing business, and I just don't know that it's going to lead anywhere because
probably not.
Like you always say.
Yeah.
Is it going to matter?
Nothing's going to come of it. What will come of it?
Stunning.
Nothing.
If this
Nothing
guy
will come of
with
it.
his gold bars,
Mercedes-Benz, all kinds of ill-gotten booty, and he's gonna skate completely free on this. That's great, and stay in the Senate. It looks like.
Yeah, one of the things I didn't know until this morning was that his wife was introduced to him by these Egyptian officials.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man, is she Egyptian?
I don't think so. I don't know. Anyway,
that's weird.
He's gonna skate. They always do, right?
It's a two-tiered system,
absolutely,
right? The elites have a different access to the justice system than we do. And Democrats have a different access. I mean, while Joe Biden is warning everybody of the dictatorship that is pending if Donald Trump is elected, he continues to ignore the U.S. Supreme Court and do whatever he pleases. I mean, there's more judges have partially blocked his student loan forgiveness plan over constitutional challenges from 11 different states. And why would he heed this when he's not heeding the U.S. Supreme Court?
Mm-hmm.
2 judges cited against the student loan forgiveness plan that Biden is insisting on. He promised during his 2016 campaign to transfer student loan debt from those who borrowed money to all taxpayers. I don't know if he put it just that way, but that's exactly what's being done. 11 states filed a lawsuit accusing Biden of usurping the power of Congress. Kansas's victory today is a victory for the entire country. This is not only unconstitutional, it's unfair. U.S. District Judge Daniel Crabtree in Wichita blocked parts of the plan moments before U.S. District Judge John Ross in St. Louis, Missouri, issued a preliminary injunction against the plan. The plan was scheduled to go into effect on July 1st.
Look at Kansas.
How about that?
They've been out in front on a couple of big things here, suing Pfizer, stopping this nonsense.
Right, that's right.
I love this. Is it Chris Kobach, the Attorney General?
Yep.
This guy.
He praised the rulings. He said Kansas's victory today is a victory for the entire country. As the court correctly held, whether to give billions of dollars of student debt is a major question that only Congress can answer. Biden's administration is attempting to usurp Congress's authority. This is not only unconstitutional, it's unfair. Blue-collar Kansas workers who didn't go to college shouldn't have to pay off the student loans of New Yorkers with gender studies degrees. That's so great.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and not only that, but what about the people who did go to college, did incur the debt, and did pay that debt?
Thank you.
Are you going to reimburse them?
Pat, I want you to look at CNN right now and describe what you see.
Oh, my. Freaks? Psychos?
We got a drag queen up there.
God.
And the most unbelievable outfit and makeup you've ever seen, dear Lord help us. We are.
I mean, these parodies of women, right? I guess it's perfectly fine, right?
Yeah,
it's so
Kingsley
bizarre
Wilson asked a great question on Twitter. Why don't drag queens ever read to the elderly? Great question. Great question.
This is Pat Gray Unleashed.